There's a reason that we're talking about this. It's something that's been on our minds a lot lately. Even I think with the Broadcom acquisition of VMware, it's something that's been impacting a lot of people, especially like smaller mid-market nonprofit businesses, even individual users, So I think it's really important that we kind of talk about some of these things that are happening. Oh, I think I forgot to stream to the Cloud Underground page. Oh well, that's okay. This will be on YouTube, and we can always repost over there. So anyway, part of the reason I wanted to talk about all of this, again, one of our clients had a vSphere license, and when their vSphere license needed to be renewed, they could not get a hold of anyone at VMware. There's also been some major changes to the VMware, like the vSphere licensing model. It used to be you could get a 16 core was like the minimum hardware requirements. Now the minimum like license that you can buy is for 72 cores. So probably most people are going to be, at least most of the people in like, SMBs, mid-market. If you're not like a giant enterprise, that's probably going to be a lot more than you need. So you're going to be paying for a lot more than you need. So one of the things that we have been optimizing in the Underground Nexus is virtual machines and installing virtual appliances. So we're going to go through a quick little walkthrough of how all of that works. So I'm going to show you real quick how you can deploy your own virtual machine using the Nexus Creator Vault. All right, let me move my head around here so you can see things slightly better. Alrighty. Okay. So, let me move other things around. Okay. So here we are. So, one of the last videos I did, I kind of showed really quickly how to, deploy a Nexus Creator Vault. So that's what you're going to need to do that. What you want to do is install the Cerberus package manager. All of the instructions for how to do that are in the Cloud Jam program at cloudunderground.dev. So you can sign up for that. There is a code to get into it for free if you prefer. And I'll show everyone that at the end here. But so you basically go through the steps to deploy a Cerberus manager. And then once you have your Cerberus manager set up, you can deploy your Nexus Creator Vault. So you can go open in terminal here, and then the Nexus Creator Vault is the dev deployment. So you just type dev, hit enter, and it's going to go ahead and build you an Nexus Creator Vault, which you will use to do all of these things. So I've already done that, set it up just to save a little bit of time. So I'm going to hop over here. Oh, that's not the one. This is the one. Okay. So here we go. This is our Nexus Creator Vault that we've set up. And we're going to install a virtual appliance. Actually, oops, that's not the one. I was going to move my face around a little bit. Okay, here we go. So you can see, I feel like everything's happening over here. Okay, so here we are. You can still see me. I'm still here. Just migrated a little bit. And we are going to, again, make a virtual machine or a virtual appliance. All right, so we go to our application launcher, and in here, we are going to go to the virtual machine manager. Amazing, that's there. Okay, so one of the things you might want to do is create a new user session, essentially, for this. So the way you do that is you go file, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. Okay. What you want to do is create a new network. You can have a little bit of, if you're going with the default network, if it's giving you this inactive thing, that's going to cause you some issues. So you want to make sure you create a new network here. And let me walk through how that works. File, new, add a connection. So you want to do a user session and then click connect. That's going to give you this lovely little user session here. It'll take a minute or two to spin up. And if it's your first time running the virtual machine manager, it's going to kind of do a thing for a minute and like spin and think about connecting. And then once it's connected, you'll just see it like this. And then again, you want to add a connection and you want to do a user session. So that's what you're going to do. And then once you have that set up, We're going to double click into this, go to our virtual networks. Oh, okay, wait, I think I created it over here. So you can create a new virtual network. So this is, you want to use an SRIOV pool and call it whatever you want. So that's what I've already done here with this basic network. All right, so let's go ahead and make a virtual appliance. So we click on this lovely new virtual appliance, and we're going to install from a local install media. So you will need to have an ISO that you're trying to build, or an OVA, or whatever it is that you're using to build your virtual machine. You're going to need that already. So I will say my prerequisite for this was I did already download an ISO that I'm going to use to build this virtual appliance. So install local install media, we'll go forward. And now we just need to find that file. So I put mine in the downloads folder. You could even go defaults and just say browse local and you'll find it. And then once it kind of recognizes that, oh, okay, your install media is in this downloads directory, you'll see that it creates that directory over here. And then there it is. There's your volume. There's your ISO. So we're going to say choose volume. All right. And then you want to uncheck this and put in whatever it is that your operating system is. So I'm using Lubuntu, which is a flavor of Ubuntu. And so we'll just do that. Forward. Give it whatever you want. I like to do something like this. 4 CPUs. That's nice. Forward. I'm just going to tell you, you know, how much you have available. That's fine. I'm just going to say forward. Call it whatever you want. And then you want to say customize configuration before the install. And then you want to use user node networking. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I think I got I confused myself a little bit. If you're using the user session, you actually don't need to configure any network. It's just going to do all of that. It's just going to use your local stuff. So do finish. And then here you go. Everything should look good however you want. You can, you know, edit anything that you want in this. Like you're just whatever. You can go through, customize, change the memory, CPUs, do all of that before you install it. And then when you're ready, you click this button at the top that says begin installation. And then there you go. That was so fast. All right, so we're going to try or install Ubuntu. Hit enter there, and then it's going to go through its process, and we are going to build a virtual appliance. So this is definitely probably going to take a few minutes. So yeah, I wanted to just say a couple things about our virtual machine setup here. So for this particular, display output is not active. Okay, well, it's doing things. We'll just let it run. So the Nexus Creator Vault is a great place for if you're building and testing virtual appliances. So this is not necessarily a production. There's another, you want to use the Underground Nexus to test and push to production, but this is the easiest way to just spin up a virtual appliance or a virtual machine and then, you know, build it out, test it, and yeah, this is the most secure way to like do your development with your VMs. So I think that's important to note. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is that, you know, there is a hyperscaler associated with this, which I'll just jump over to a new tab really fast so you can see that. This is the KubeVirt Manager. This is a hyperscaler that you can use to manage your virtual machines. For the nerdy types, that's what this is for. It uses Kubernetes. I think for the average user, more like myself, who doesn't necessarily know as much about, you know, well, you know, I know what I know, but I definitely, I'm not like the most nerdy and the most, you know, adept when it comes to some of these things. But for those of you that are, that's why we have the KubeVirt Manager. And again, it's a hyperscaler and it uses Kubernetes. And yeah, so that's that. Let's check back over here. Oh, I keep clicking. I should just close that tab. It's not the one. Okay, so here we go. We're working. It is running. We are building. So this is our Ubuntu virtual machine. Very exciting. So yeah, this is just gonna do its thing and keep building. So yeah, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, feel free to say hi in the chats and let me know what's going on with you. Have you ever tried to build your own virtual machine? If so, what have you used in the past? Are you trying to explore getting away from VMware and vSphere since, you know, some of the merger things that have happened? Super curious to know. If you're watching this later, drop some comments. Let me know what you're interested in as far as, you know, virtual machines, virtual appliances, and yeah, love to talk more about that. You know, I think I'm going to do another stream too, probably tomorrow, where I can go ahead and show the whole process too of like how do you even, you know, build the Cerberus manager, deploy your Nexus Creator Vault, and then, you know, go through this process again. So I think it's all helpful. The more you see it, the more you understand it. So, all right, things are happening. This is exciting. Love it. Okay. And I think we can do like full screen and let that do its thing. Cool. Though now I don't know how to get out of that. I think it's like Alt-T or Alt-L. Oh, okay. Wow. Escape? Quirks. The quirks of the things. You know, it's fine. All right. Well, that's a thing. I'm curious. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's happening. Okay. All right. Okay, this is how you get out. Okay. This is actually a pretty common functionality, I feel like, if you go and like have these full screen modes of things. This happens to me, of course, too. But if you do mouse to the top, it'll show you these things. So we're going to say leave full screen just while we're doing this. And then install Ubuntu. That's good. Things are happening. We're moving forward. So see what happens. Here we go. Installing. Yeah, I guess the other thing that I would love to hear from people is, you know, what you're even trying to build right now and, you know, what you're working on. Always interesting to talk to people and see how they're using the Underground Nexus or the Nexus Creator Vault, and how that's going for them. So, you know, if you're watching this later, of course, leave me a comment. Let me know what you're working on. Love to know. Okay, so now this is going to install Ubuntu. Of course, this is also probably going to take a few minutes. So let's just bear with it while it does its thing here. Okay. Next. All right, and you can, of course, change your location for wherever you are, whatever time zone you want it to be in. Click Next. Keyboard, I'm just going to do a standard keyboard, though, of course, it's got a bazillion options. You can, you know, change it to whatever you want it to be. Totally customizable. I'll just do the normal installation. And then select the Erase Disk option. Hit Next. Okay. And then you can put whatever you want here. What's your name? And, you know, standard for a lot of the stuff we do with Cloud Underground is we use ABC. And then we will set a password. Whatever you will remember. Okay. I'm just gonna call this Ubuntu test. And then next. Okay. And then we hit install. Install now. And that's gonna do its thing now, I think. Did it work? Give it a second. Okay, here we go. Moving on to the install. Cool. All right. So now, again, more waiting. That's always, you know, when you're installing something, that's a big part of the process. Is just waiting for things to work and complete. So, yes. So now it's working. All right. Oh. Checking on my video, see if anybody's chatting at me. Heck yeah. Hey everyone, thanks for chatting. Yes, the full screen thing, I think like it trips a lot of people up. And there's so many applications that I feel like that I do that with, where it's like full screen, and then you're like, wait, why did I do this? How do I get out of it? And it's usually something like you have to like, you know, like put your mouse in the middle of the screen, or like have the right key command, or whatever it might be. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who experiences that. Yeah, so obviously this is gonna take a little while. That's fine. We're 5% of the way there. It's all good. Yeah. All right. Virtual appliances. Building them like it's hot. That's us. That's what we're doing. Yeah, it's pretty snappy. It's not the fastest, but you know, it's working. It's doing it. And hurry up and wait. That's so much of like development. You know, I think that's one of the major things that I think I've learned as I've grown as a developer, and as I've grown as like CEO of Cloud Underground. You know, I'm pretty directly involved in most of the development that we do. We have a very small team, so you know, NATO's like, we're doing something, and I'm like, okay, how can I help? So that's like a big part of, you know, how we operate. This is not progressing very quickly. But yeah, I feel like that's a major part of development, is just like that hurry up and wait factor. And I also feel like most of the projects that we take on, you're like, okay, it shouldn't take more than like X amount of time or whatever. But then it always takes like 10 times longer than you anticipate it's going to take. I think that's just kind of par for the course, and also NATO tells me that that's pretty common. It's pretty common. You think something's not going to take too long, and then it does. Just because so much of the process is like, yeah, you do some coding, you run some commands, and then you got to like test it, which means you're moving giant files all over the place from like one environment to another environment. So even if you have it all like well networked together so that you can move the files quickly, you know, a big like 20 gig file is going to take a while to move, and then you've got to boot it and then see if it works. And it's just like, there's so much like testing and slow processes involved in all of this. So, yeah, it can be slow. I did apply some CPU and RAM. I tried to give it 4 cores, which I maybe should have given it 8. I mean, I have the resources on this machine, so I probably should have done that, but it's okay. We'll just wait a little bit, and if it goes too long, I mean, at least we know it's working. Things are happening, and we can always check back in on another stream and talk about it more. It's a little late in the day today. I just want to get on and like talk to people. It's been a while since I've done a nice little live stream. We were doing some traveling, and of course the holiday weekend and all of that. It's been a little hectic and chaotic, and I'm just excited to be back at the normal things. So Yeah, I thanks everyone for dropping in to the YouTube chats as well. I love seeing you guys all here. It makes me feel like I'm not in it all by myself, you know. Love that. So thanks for showing up and chatting, and I hope this is helpful. I'm gonna let this just keep going, but I am gonna drop off the stream for now, and let's do another one tomorrow. We'll do another one tomorrow, and probably go through this whole process again, plus some extra steps in the beginning for like how do you even get into the Cerberus manager, how do you even get into a Nexus creator vault, how do you make all of these things. And I'm just going to show you really fast the best way to get all of the instructions to do anything with the Underground Nexus creator vault is to use CloudJam. So CloudJam is an awesome course. You can click over and check it out. It's basically like, this is how you build an Underground Nexus. And then it's got some fun little, you know, tasks, things you can do. You know, it has you build the AI in the Nexus Creator Vault. There is a private AI that lives in the Nexus Creator Vault. You just gotta run it. And then you have your own private AI chatbot that's not sending your data to some other big corporation that's just taking everything that you put into it. It's all private. And that's something I think we'll be also making more content about, is like, how do you train that? How do you make a RAG out of it? How do you save your data? But that's, you know, another topic for another day. But anyway, so CloudJam, what you'd want to do, add it to cart. We have a code here, Jamon 2025. If you enter that in, it's going to zero out and you can go ahead and just check out. I think I'm logged in here. I hope so. Oh, look at me. I'm so on top of things. Okay, so then once you have purchased CloudJam, you click on the Academy Access button at the top here, and that's going to ask you to log in. You'll create a login. The purchase process walks you through all of that. You'll get an email that tells you how to do all of that. But then once you create it, once you've done that, you can just go in and access your course. And so this is the CloudJam prerequisites, is build an Underground Nexus. And so it's going to walk you through this whole process. So to install using Docker Desktop on Windows, the first thing, and probably the hardest step of all of this, is you have to install Docker Desktop, which can be a little finicky, especially if it needs updates. I usually find if it has to be updated, you just want to uninstall it and reinstall it, install a new one. But anyway, so you'll just go ahead and install Docker Desktop and then run these commands. Just go through the step-by-step. It's very easy. You can do it. And then from your local machine, once you have it, once you have your Cerberus running, the Cerberus manager is this. I keep going into that tab. Oh, so annoying. Okay. Is this lovely container that we've built over here. I already have that running. And then you can do it two ways. The step-by-step that it has you do here is you're just going to, once you run this command in your host's terminal window, it's going to then pull you into the Cerberus Manager CLI. The other way to do that is to just do it from Docker. You have your Cerberus Manager here, and you can click on the little bubbles and say open in terminal, and then there you go. And so there's three options for installing the Underground Nexus. There's the dev, the sec, and the ops version. We've got three versions. So the dev version is what we do most of our stuff in, at least what I do most of like my testing in. And it just gives you a nice secure development environment. So you type in DEV, hit enter, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna build you a Nexus Creator Vault, and you'll see it show up in your Docker Desktop. And then when you go to the localhost localhost 1050, once it's done and it's green and it's running, it'll pop you over into one of these. So there you go. We made a little progress. It says we are now 19% of the way done. My face is over that, so you can't see it, but we're 19% of the way there. So this is making progress. That's good. But yeah, so CloudJam's just going to walk you through all of those steps. And then, of course, So dev, this is a recommended install. If you've never used an Underground Nexus before, it's a great place to start. And then the other option you can do is you can, again, come into your Cerberus manager, and then you can use the SEC command, run that, and it's going to build you a full Underground Nexus. A full Underground Nexus. This particular machine that we're looking at right here is not super powerful, so I don't actually even have one installed on here. I probably should, just for testing purposes, but it's not the beefiest, so you know it kind of bogs it down a little bit. But do keep in mind you can run the Underground Nexus on pretty low hardware. We've made it so that it can even run potentially on, well, not potentially, it can run on a Raspberry Pi, and though we are kind of working on some ARM support with that coming soon. But anyway, so you can run it on even a pretty low powered machine. Like, I could definitely build one on this machine. It's just going to be a little slower. Like, it's totally capable. You don't need very much power or, you know, any crazy hardware to run an Underground Nexus, and even less to do a Nexus Creator Vault. The Nexus Creator Vault is a little, it's pared back a little bit. It's still got everything that you need, but it doesn't have the full beef, all the tools that the Underground Nexus has. So if you do want to have a full Underground Nexus, again, Cerberus Manager, use the sec command, and it's going to build that for you. I'll warn you though, it can take a little time, probably at least 20 minutes, depending on your network speed, you know, what kind of machine you're building it on and what your host machine is. All of these things will kind of affect how long it takes to build and install. But yeah, 20 minutes, maybe 45, just give it some time, and eventually you'll get a full beef Underground Nexus, and you can do all sorts of stuff with that. So here we are back over here. Again, I think I'm going to hop off now that we've kind of looked at CloudJam, looked at, you know, how to build a virtual appliance. Obviously it's going now. It's going. Yay, it's going. So let's check back in tomorrow. So if you are watching me on YouTube, which is probably where you're at, definitely subscribe to the channel. You can turn on the little bell thing so that you get alerts every time we go live or post new videos. So yeah, do that, and then you'll see when I go live tomorrow to talk more about all of this. So I'll show you guys the completed Lubuntu virtual appliance that we've built, and then also just walk through all the steps again, because I think it's helpful. It's helpful for us all to do it all many times. I know that for sure for myself. Yeah, all right. Anyway, thanks everyone for dropping in. Really appreciate it. Yeah, really excited to be showing off more and more of some of the cool things that the Underground Nexus Creator Vault can do, and that you can do with it. So thanks all for joining, and we'll see you all next time.